Hello, one and all. Welcome to special webinar lecture organized by SIMS Library and IQAC SIMS. And it's a great privilege for me to welcome one and all. Almost 81 participants are there. It's an honor for me to welcome this. Unfortunately, we are planned to do manual. Unfortunately, due to Corona, we are moving to web portal. Whatever it is, we are organizing one webinar on the auspicious occasion of International World Book Day and Copyright Day. Firstly, I welcome heartily our honorable speaker, distinguished speaker, Ramesh sir. I welcome you, sir, for this event. I hope for your wonderful thoughts, your sharings will be uh, good input for our user community as well as our SIMS professionals also. And then once again, I welcome you, sir. Then I heartily welcome our director, sir, Director Vinay, sir. Then our staff members of SIMS, and then our beloved students. I welcome you one and all for this event. About firstly, I want to share few things about our speaker, Mr. Ramesh Shankaran, sir. Is an almost 20 years of experience in the field of publishing industry. He worked with multinational corporates in the publishing and has rich experience in acquisition of manuscript and getting the same published and establish it. And he is a postgraduate MBA from European Business School. Is almost 20 years of experience in the same field. Of course, is a good knowledge about the copyright issues. One day, I and Vinay sir discussed the same when we are interacting in the library. We thought we supposed to invite Ramesh sir for the some event which will conduct in future for SIMS. Then that the same thing is happened today. I will. That's the brief introduction about our Ramesh sir. Then today's event, World Book and Copyright Day. Of course, it's started from UNESCO in the year 1995 in the Paris General Conference. The reason is the most famous writer in the world literature, Shakespeare and others, died in the 23rd April. That's the reason UNESCO commonly chooses this date as the World Book Day. That's the main reason to promote reading habit of our young user community there. They start the event. Hopefully you will utilize the same for in future endeavor. I thank you for one and all. Those who are joined here and then who will be joining soon. I thank you one and all. Now I will hand over to Ramesh sir for his notable and noble speech. Sir, we are ready to hear your noble thoughts, sir.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Vinay.
Yeah.
I hope I'm audible, right?
Yeah, sir, sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts on the World Book Day. In fact, the World Book Day is tomorrow, the 23rd April. Due to some constraints and some of my engagements, I have to actually conduct this today. And I really appreciate Seshadripuram Institute of Management Studies and the faculties as well as the organizers to give me this opportunity. And also a warm welcome to all the students as well as the faculty members, whoever has joined from SIMS as well as from the other institutions. Obviously, as Sir said, I have been working in the publishing industry from the last 20 years, and books are very near and dear to me, as well as they are very good companion to me. I started my career though with telecom industry. It was just a bit of, about 1.5 years I was there, and then it was all about education and books. So I'll just share my PPT. I think you need to enable me sharing the screen.
Yes, sir, I will do. Now you can share, sir.
Sure. Is my PPT visible?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's visible now, right?
Yes, sir, it's visible, clearly visible.
Sure. Thank you so much. Yeah. So I will try and see if I can share my experiences with the kind of brief that has been given in terms of what is World Book Day to how is it that we will cultivate the reading habit, what are the benefits of reading habit. There are some few tips which I have been able to jot down, which could be handy in terms of if you're a reader for the first time. Of course, copyrights and challenges and the issues related to copyrights, and why I read a lot, as well as what are my best book reads. There are also some suggestive reading materials that I have tried and incorporated, and a couple of experience sharing that how I became an avid reader, as well as what made me read. Yeah, and then we could always take some few questions from some of the participants in case if they have any. This is the agenda I thought would fit into the scheme of things for today's presentation. As very rightly said by Vasanta sir, the World Book Day or World Book and Copyright Day, or it is also called as the International Day of Book, is an annual event which is started by UNESCO in the late 90s in the UK. So UNESCO is nothing but it's United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Obviously, all respects to Shakespeare as well, who expired today, or in fact, 23rd of April, which is one of the greatest writers of literature in the world, who has been renowned for whatever contributions that he has done for the content. Yeah, the main aim to start this day is to promote and cultivate and improve the habit of reading, publishing, and copyright. So obviously, this is something which everybody would look forward to, because having, you know, reading as an habit, publishing a lot of content, as well as protecting whatever you have published is most important. If authors don't write, we can't read, right? So it's more important for somebody to publish. So publishing can be in multi formats. Publishing can be in the form of a book. Publishing can be in the form of a research paper. Publishing can be in the form of cases, caselet. Since you are all management students, I am taking the example of cases here, because cases is something which will allow you to, get an experience as to how things to be dealt with. That is what I went through when I studied management. It's also a day to celebrate about the books, the authors, the wonderful authors, and encourage individuals to read and feel the pleasure of reading. So reading is something which definitely will give a lot of pleasure once you get into the habit of reading, and it's very easy to cultivate a habit of reading. So we'll see how is it that we go about cultivating the habit of reading. How is it that you enjoy yourself in terms of reading? What is it that is the kind of pleasure that you enjoy? And what is the kind of knowledge acquisitions that it helps? So cultivation of reading habit, most important point when it comes to cultivation of reading habit is you need to get mentally prepared for reading. That's the most important thing. It's just not because somebody reads or somebody tells you to read, you should read. You should be mentally prepared. What is it that you want to read? There are identification of interest in subject areas that needs to be taken care of. So many people may read so many things, but probably what I may read you may not like, or what Mr. Vasant reads you may not like, or what Vinay sir reads you may not like. So you may have your own habit, own interest, own subject areas, which I believe is something which is very important for you to identify. So once you are mentally prepared that yes, I am something, this is something which I want to read, and these are the interest areas, these are the subjects of interest that I want, spend some time in choosing the right content, right book to read. Try to use, if you're a first time reader, it will motivate you. Obviously, it's more of a psychological fact that the bigger the book, the thicker the book, you may not want to read it. I mean, this is a very psychological fact. Yeah. So if you are a first time reader, I would suggest start with thin books, read at least 1 to 3 pages in a day. Try and see if you can get into the habit of reading, because if you're a first time reader, it's not just easy to wind through the entire flow of text. So there are different types of books that are written. So it could be books with caricatures, it could be books with flowcharts, it could be books with a lot of diagrams in it, it could be, there would be a books with only text. So based on how you go through the books, flip through the books, how you identify the books, how you do, what is the kind of research that you do in searching the content, will help you in identifying a right book to start with. There could be flexible different options which you will want to explore in reading. It could be reading a physical book, it could be reading a digital book. These days digital is gaining a lot of momentum because it gives you the flexibility to read where and anywhere, anytime, any device, and things of that sort. You want to download a Google book or a Google Play where you can read books which your library is downloaded. If you are still wanting a physical book to be read, you can even do that. So there are different options that are available these days. Obviously, when I started, I mean, I just had the option of having a print book in place, and I used to read that. So once you start or getting the habit of reading, there are different words probably which you may not know now, or different jargons that you may not know. Probably you may want to understand what are they. So if there is a possibility, please use a dictionary to understand the meaning, the right meaning of the word, right? Or try to find it online. What are the meanings of those words or those jargons or those phrases that are available? It could help you in using them as and when required. Obviously, today I am giving you a presentation. Tomorrow, a lot of you may be giving a presentation in a lot of other places. If there are possibilities for you to use a new word, it will do a world of good. It's a learning. That is the most important factor in it. While reading, if there is a possibility, if you can develop an habit of making notes, it will help you in future presentations as well as in future readings. You can always make it as a ready reckoner. So it all depends upon what is the kind of book that you choose to read. Obviously, I will not expect anybody to make notes of a fiction book. It could be a business read, or it could be a self-help book that you may want to read, and you could make a notes of it. It will definitely help you. Probably you may want to read a textbook end to end. Making a notes will definitely help you in terms of your research output, or your attending your presentations, or making a presentation in your classrooms or further lectures or things of that sort. The motivation factor specifically in the cultivation of reading habit is that try and see if you can participate in group reading ideas, or group reading and share ideas and discuss with a set of group of people. Competition is something which is very important, which keeps you alive. Two people, three people, or four people. Try and see if you can identify a specific set of interest areas or books. Try and shortlist them. Try and see if you can buy them, and then you start reading one by one. It could be a possibility that you acquire 4 books or buy 4 books, 4 of you, and then you start reading one at each. So you can start sharing ideas what you read in this particular book to the other 3, They may share their ideas with all of you. So that keeps you motivating in terms of what is good about the book, what is it that you learned about the book, what is it that is the interesting and the motivating factor about the book. There are numerous examples that one can give in terms of sharing ideas or discussions or what you learned, things of that sort. Yeah. So this is something which I also did in the early part of my career, early part of my days, where I had a couple of friends where we used to read different set of fiction books. I started with fiction books, which was very interesting to me. In the future slides, I will share what made me read a lot, what was the motivating factor, as well as what interests me, so that probably you can pick some of them and see if this is something which you want and you would like to read through. Definite huge benefits, phenomenal benefits of reading. It improves your vocabulary, it improves your language, it helps you gain lot of knowledge. So depends upon what is the kind of book that you choose. It helps you in gaining a lot of knowledge, irrespective of the type of book that you read. It could be a fiction, it could be a non-fiction, it could be a sports related book, it could be a biography, it could be a Rahul Dravid story, or it could be a Sachin Tendulkar story, or it could be a story of a yogi. So there are different types of books that you can read. It gives you different perspectives. It gives you different types of writing, different types of languages. It could be a romantic story, which is written in a very simple and lucid English. It could be an economically backed book like The World is Flat, written by one of the topmost economists in the world. So there are different ways or different styles of writing where you can acquire different types of vocabulary, different types of language that is getting used. There are authors like Malcolm Gladwell who writes superb English, obviously high fanda English, where things will be a little difficult to understand to start with, and then maybe as you gain the habit of reading, probably things will improve. You start with a fiction book, things will be an author's book, which makes all the more easier to understand what is written, and then step by step you move forward in gaining confidence in terms of reading eye-hand research books or eye-hand books, which gives you that kind of understanding in terms of English or knowledge or vocabulary. The second benefit that I feel reading is it keeps you busy. It doesn't allow your mind to settle down, or idle mind is devil's paradise. So being busy is very important. I know as a student, in the back of your mind you may be thinking, मेरे पास तो time ही नहीं है, मैं क्या पढूं? There is so much of things that I need to read in terms of my MBA itself. But if possible, if there is a chance that you get to read something different, it will help you acquire more knowledge. It gets the brain working. It influences your thought process. So probably you may think in a different way. Reading a book, reading a different type of a book will give you a lot of idea in terms of how is it that things I've written in that. Is there something which is useful for me? What is the kind of points that I gain out of it? Is there something which I can pick up and utilize in a day-to-day environment, day-to-day example? Obviously, you are all MBA students. You will be expected to present some or the other day, even in your classes. So maybe reading a book, reading a typical book, which is suitable to all of you, may give you different ideas, different thought processes, which you can make note of it. And you can definitely start using those ideas in presentations wherever you want to. It reduces a lot of stress because it keeps your mind busy. It doesn't allow you to think unwanted things. That is one of the biggest stress busters. Books are one of the biggest stress busters. Having pets at home is one more stress buster, that they keep you busy the same way book keeps you busy, because it doesn't allow your mind to wander here and there. There are new ideas that gets generated definitely by reading. You can make use of those new ideas. Critical thinking skills improve. That is expected of a business management graduate, the kind of critical thinking that you're expected to do. It improves your imagination factor. Definitely, one needs to imagine if he or she wants to write or get an idea into a presentation factor, where you will have different ideas. If you start imagining around it, you will start developing more content towards it. Plus you can start writing on those imaginations. It influences your presentation, speaking and writing skills. Yeah, this is the most important factor and the benefit of reading. As a management graduate, probably all the teachers in your institution or wherever you are will definitely teach you a lot about management. They will teach you what is organizational behavior, what is human resource management, what is marketing management, what is financial management, what is entrepreneurship, what is sales and distribution management, so many things. But unless and until you acquire that knowledge, you acquire what is it that they teach, and you don't communicate about it, it's of no use. So the most important factor for all of you, specifically students, is try and communicate what you have learned. That is where it will take you to the next level. It will take you to industries. You are expected to speak, you're expected to present, you're expected to write what you have learned. And this habit can be cultivated definitely with the help of reading. While reading, I just mentioned a few minutes back, if there is a possibility, make notes. That notes making will help you collate data, and that data will be helping you in terms of presentation. So these are all interlinked. Reading, writing, speaking, grammar, vocabulary, all these are interlinked. There is a jargon called LSRW, G and V, that is listening, speaking, reading, writing, grammar and vocabulary. That's how English language proficiency skills are monitored. You will be rated on a particular scale on an English level, where it could be, there is an organization in the UK again called as uh, which gives you a scale called CEFR, that is the Common European Framework of Reference. Maybe after this presentation, if you have time, you can Google about CEFR, which is a scale that you get rated in terms of your English language proficiency. Yeah. There are some of the tips that I feel which can be a motivating factor, or you can use those things for reading. If you are a first time reader, or if you think that reading will keep you busy, reading will keep you interesting, reading can take you to places, reading can help you in presenting, try and set an achievable goal. It could be a short time limited goal, which will help you in terms of what is it that you want to read. Relate whatever I am talking today or whatever is mentioned in my slide to the reading part of it, to the book part of it. So setting up an achievable goal is something. You have a goal of reading 2 books in a month, or 4 books in a quarter, or 10 books in a year. If it is a short-term goal, keep it a bi-monthly goal. I will read 1 book in 15 days. I'll read 2 books in 15 days. In fact, want you to quit. I mean, maja nahi aa raha hai. I mean, it's just not helping me. I just want to quit. It is nothing. This is something which I don't look forward to. I can't read so much. These books are fact. I don't understand what I read. How can I sit and read 150 pages of a book? It just doesn't give me any sense about it. So don't quit. Try and practice. Perseverance is very, very important here. Practice the habit of perseverance and success is sure to come. This should be the bottom line. Yeah. Try and see if you can get into a good place, environment, medium, which these are all contributing factors which can help you read. It may be possible that you may sit in a drawing hall of your house, may not be, very conducive enough for you to read. If there is a place that, makes you feel more cozy, try and see if you can sit and read there. Obviously, environment, which is very, very important for you to read if you're a first time starter. The medium to read, as I said previously as well, please try and see, get mentally prepared if you want to read it through print or a digital medium, which will help, whichever is comfortable. I think you should start reading both and see which fits into your scheme of things. Read in short spans. Don't read for hours together. Start reading for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then develop the habit of reading in longer spans. Try and use social media to find out good reads. There will be a lot of reviews about the books that will be written. There will be good suggestions from people. There are some good suggestions from top people who actually give you a lot of insights about which are the good books that could be read. A good example here could be, Satya Nadella of Microsoft suggesting some few books that is the best pick for the year 2020 or the best pick for year 2019. So if it comes from one of the topmost stalwarts who can give you a detail about what good books are there which could help anybody, please try and see if you can read one of them, or you yourself can actually try and mine data in social media to find out which are the good reads. There are also different readers that I have come across. It could be a possible that maybe a silent reader, that could be a reading habit which could be loud. There are some people who like to read loud. Please do that if it helps you. So these are again interlinked. The environment is very important in which space that you sit and then read. Everybody may not like if you're around and you read loudly. So see the place, see the environment. In case it helps you to read loud, please do that. I mean, I have done it for some time where I feel that it gives you a comfort. It gives you that interest in reading loudly. There may be a possibility that you may not understand something which you may read, but reading loud may try and help you. Talk to your friends, make groups that's what I said about what you're reading, share some information, talk about it, what you have read, what you have gained knowledge. It will definitely help you in terms of exchanging of knowledge, understanding what they have done and what is their interest. Probably their interest can be also your interest, or your interest can be their interest. So different ways of doing things. You need to work out the permutation combination in terms of reading, getting into groups. That will help you. Don't get complacent or fatigued specifically because of this. As I said, don't quit your goal, but don't get complacent and fatigued about reading. There is a lot of possibility that you can. So don't get into that habit so that it really helps. Yeah. There are possibilities that you should not overread as well. These are one of the most important tips that one needs to uh, remember in terms of if you're a first time reader or so. You don't need to overread things. Overreading also will make you fatigued or more complacent, or it will help you. It will not help you in terms of gaining that kind of importance or gaining that kind of interest in terms of reading. Just a minute. I think there are a few more people in the line who wants to join. I'll just allow them. Yeah. So one of the most important as well as most critical areas when it comes to publishing or when it comes to books are the copyright issues and the challenges that one faces. It could be copyright and issues with the books. It could be copyright issues with the publishing part of it or so. So let us understand what is copyright first. Copyright, I'm just reading the definition, what is there. You could also read by yourself as well. It is a legal means of protecting one's original work. That is the bottom line. It is a type of intellectual property that provides exclusive rights to copy, edit, reuse, distribute, share, publish for the author. Specifically, the author enjoys the economic and the moral rights, right to sell, modify, change, or object to change. And usually copyrights are temporary, lasting for the life of the author plus number of years. So when I say that, let us take an example of an X book. An X book is getting published by an X author, and the copyright of that book, when I say copyright, the content copyright of that book is always with the author. The publishing copyright of the book will always reside with the publisher. So let's take an example of a book that you use daily. Let's take an example of an organizational behavior book by Stephen Robbins. Probably that is one of the prescribed textbooks for all of you in the curriculum. So let's assume that Stephen Robbins is writing the first edition of organizational behavior book. The content of Stephen Robbins, the copyright is with Stephen Robbins, and the publishing copyright is with the distinguished publisher. So if Stephen Robbins feels that the book is not getting justified by the publisher, he has the right to give the next edition rights to a different publisher. And why this can happen is because the content copyright of that particular edition is with Stephen Robbins. So copyright is something which is very, very important as far as content is concerned. It could be a copyright in terms of a book. It could be a copyright in terms of a research paper. It could be a copyright in terms of a monograph, anything for that matter. So always I would advise, or I would suggest, or I would convey through this meeting with my experience is that whenever you write anything tomorrow, or if you're writing presently, always keep the copyright of the content with you. You are doing all the hard work. You are doing all the groundwork for getting the content ready. It is your hard work which is presented in black and white. Always the content copyright should remain with the author. Always the publishing copyright will remain with the publisher. A lot of people who may want to take away the copyright from you, I would suggest not to give the copyright. The copyright should always remain with you, because there are different modalities today as far as copyright is concerned, which are come into place. Earlier, only the author used to enjoy the copyright. These days, even publishers acquire content in one-time royalty, wherein they pay the author for whatever they have written a lump sum, and they completely take the copyright for that particular content, and they reproduce the content the way they want. So, but I would suggest, as it is your own hard work, you should always keep the copyright. Obviously, if it is a book, it is true in all sense. If it is a small mini kind of reference material, that is something which you are preparing for an X usage, you can always weigh the options in terms of transferring the copyright. The two major issues that are related to copyrights are plagiarism and piracy. It's very easy for things to get plagiarized or pirated. So let's understand what is plagiarism first. It's the representation of another person or author's language or ideas or thoughts or expressions as their own original work. For example, reproducing a sentence or a paragraph or a diagram etc. from an author's original work without permission of the author and publishing it as their original work. Writing a research paper by compiling data from already produced works. This is called as plagiarism. And it's very easy, right? Today, Google is there. There is a lot of search engines that are available. Try and Google something, try and do something, try and use some search engines where you compile data and represent it as your own work. That is called as plagiarism. And this is something which is not, or which is intellectual property against the IPR. Rather, I would say that these are the right words. Rather, it is against the IPR. You are doing an IPR infringement if you are plagiarizing any content. Plagiarizing, or rather, the copyright is always the original work of somebody, which has to be there. When I say about plagiarism, I would also bring in a different perspective to it also. Let's assume that we are talking about a corporate strategy book. The concept of corporate strategy, whoever writes will be very similar. There cannot be major difference in it, right? So there may be stalwarts who may have their, kind of models that may be copyrighted already or patented, which is approved by the world agencies. If you want to reproduce the same kind of models in your own book or in your own writing, you can always give the credentials of that particular model in the footnote, stating that the source of this model or source of the reproduction of this content is from so and so. And also to make sure that you are protected, there is no legal tangle for you. You can always write to the author about your reproduction of that content in your own work and get a written permission, which will help you protect your legality in terms of whatever you have reproduced the content from whichever source. So this is very, very important. There is a lot of plagiarism and copyright issues today, specifically because people don't know more about copyright and plagiarism. Same is the logic with book piracy. Book piracy is an illegal and illegitimate reproduction of other people's intellectual property for economic reasons without prior consent or authorizations. Piracy can be both print and digital. For example, very, very simple, lame example I'm giving, photocopying of a book without publisher's prior consent and using it for economic or commercial purpose is also a piracy, is also considered as piracy. Free uploading of books on the internet without publishers or authors' content is also piracy. There are numerous piracy examples that I can give you, but this being a public forum, I don't want to name a publisher or name a typical book which got pirated. Obviously, I believe Vasanta sir, you may recall our discussion whenever we had met. We had discussed in length and breadth about piracy to plagiarism to copyright issues that are there, and that is something which affects the publishing industry as a whole. It affects the original work of an author, of an individual who has taken a lot of pains to write whatever they have written. And if there are any measures to control it, we have to contribute to it. There are a lot of measures that people have in place. There are a lot of plagiarism check softwares these days, which helps you in terms of checking if the content is pirated or in fact the content is plagiarized, pardon me. And then give you a report as to what is the kind of plagiarism percentage or reproduction of whatever content from the original work. So my advice here is, please try and see if it could be an original work that one needs to do. And if you're reproducing any work from anywhere, please give it in the footnote stating the source, that this is something which is being reproduced from so and so place. So these are very, very important terminologies as far as a book or content is concerned. And there are a lot of materials that are available which you could read through. Obviously, there will be a lot of sections that your teachers will teach in your law subjects that you will be going through in the 2 years that you will be spending in the college. And definitely there will be sections about copyright, intellectual property rights, and so on and so forth. Some of you may want to do your law majors after you complete your management. So you will have an in-depth knowledge about what is copyright to what is plagiarism to what is piracy and the nuances associated with it. Yeah. In case you have any questions, please stop me and ask me a question. I don't mind answering them. I think there are 4 chats that are available. Okay. So moving further, yes, very important, very interesting section for me. These are my best reads that I have been reading. I have read over the period of years. I started with fiction when I started way back in 1997-98. I started with this book called Master of the Game by Sidney Sheldon. It's a very thick book, but it just kept me interesting in the book so much that, you know, I started falling in love with Sidney Sheldon. I have read all the books of Sidney Sheldon. There are about 10 to 15 books that he's written, and these are the 2 best picks for myself. The Sky is Falling and Master of the Game. Stephen King is one more author who keeps me interesting in his read. 4 Past Midnight was one of the best books that I have read. It's a compilation of 4 books. It's close to about 1500 pages of his writing, but phenomenal author. Keeps you so much of guessing at what will happen next. There are people joining. Yeah. There is also one more Japanese author that I have read, Kiga Higashino. These are thrillers. The Derivation of Suspect X and Malice is one of the best books that he has written, and he also keeps you guessing in terms of how is it that what will happen next. So these are some of the motivating books which I read, which are the fiction books. There is an Indian author who used to work for Asian Age. There is a newspaper called Asian Age, and there is a newspaper called Midday. In fact, just to appraise you all, I'm a Mumbaite, and half of my life I have spent in Mumbai. But past 20 years I'm in Bangalore, and I love to read about Mumbai, the underworld of Mumbai, what happens, what keeps them motivating, what keeps them fascinating. So Hussain Zaidi is one of the authors who writes about Mumbai Mafia and the underworld. He's one of the topmost rated journalists in India, and he has written phenomenal amount of books. He's written a book about the D Company, Dongri to Dubai, My Name is Abu Salem, and Baikla to Bangkok. There are about 7 to 8 books that he's written, but these 3 are the phenomenal reads of Hussain Zaidi. Simple English, very easy to understand. Being a Mumbaite, I could relate what I read. This is also one more factor. If you can pick up books which you could relate to your own self, it keeps you motivating and interesting in terms of the reads. Prakash Iyer is one of the best leadership books that I have read. The Secret of Leadership. With a background of McKinsey and all, he's just written phenomenally well. Very simple English, very, very easy to understand about leadership. The kind of examples that he has given in that book is just too good, too good. Very, very easy to understand. There's one more book that he's written, The Winning Habit, The Habit of Winning, which is also again very good. Then I got into a habit of reading some success stories, specifically the success story of Michael Dell and Bill Gates interested me a lot. There are also a couple of more books which I have not mentioned here though, but it also interested me, which are, titles like the Maruti story, Simply Fly by Captain Gopinath, how he started the airlines, which was a low-cost airline, though whatever has happened to the future of it, but it gives you an idea how people think, what they do, what are the perspectives. It gives you that kind of motivation in terms of what is the kind of success they enjoy and what are the factors that influence their success. So success stories are something which keeps you busy. I think definitely one should try reading success stories. Everybody might know who is Natwar Singh, and he's written a phenomenal book called One Life Is Not Enough. I mean, this is something which is one of the wonderful reads. If there is a possibility, please pick up this copy of this book and try and read when you're an avid reader. It takes a lot of you to read this book. CS is one of the biggest or the most valued organizations in the world today. Mr. Ramadurai has written the TCS story. Please try and see if you can read that. I mean, these are my best book reads. Possibly this may not be yours, but these are the suggestions that I would definitely want to give in this forum, because I am also a management student. You're also a management student. Yeah. What is the difference between, I just have a question here, between author copyright and publisher copyright? Yes. So just to get back to the question, author copyright is the content that you write. You own the content. That is, the copyright of that particular content is residing with you. The publishing copyright is something the author gives the right of the content to the publisher to publish it and market it in the market. So that is the publishing copyright. So the publisher has only the rights of that content to be published, to be marketed, to sell it, and to earn money out of it, and then pay royalty to the author. So the publisher cannot make any changes in the book. Only the author can make changes in the book. That is author's copyright. Publisher can only publish the book. So during the process of publishing, there is different stages of publishing though. Vasanta sir, I hope I'm not taking too much of time. Can I speak?
No.
It's about publishing?
No, sir. It's okay. Carry on, sir.
Yeah. So there are different stages of publishing here, where how an author is zeroed down on, and how is it that a publisher chooses an author to write. There is this editorial board that every publisher has. So it may be a set of editors. It could be a set of, in fact, in editing also, there are different modalities. There could be a commissioning editor. There could be a copywriting editor. So a commissioning editor's responsibility is to commission books. That means he acquires content. Let's assume that if Dr. Vinay writes a book on financial economics, and I as a publisher want to acquire that book tomorrow, and I am the commissioning editor of an X organization. So I will go talk to Dr. Vinay, explain to him about what is it that we do in publishing and what are our pluses and minuses, and how is it that I can market his content, and I acquire the manuscript from him. Excuse me. So once I acquire the manuscript, I will get the books or get him introduced to my copyright or my editors in my office. We will try and speak to him on a continuous basis about his book, about the different suggestions from the editorial side. The author might have written about financial economics in a very simple way, but the publisher may want some more important things to be in the book. So there will be some suggestions that will be given from the publisher's side or incorporated by the author. So the publisher has the right now to even suggest about content, changing of content, alteration of content to the author, which the author has all the rights to accept it or reject it. Then gives the complete manuscript to the publisher, and the publisher publishes it. So once the publishing is done, then the publisher doesn't have any right to change or modify the content. Limitation of the copyright that a publisher enjoys, which is only limited to publishing of the book or publishing of the content, that is publishing copyright. Author enjoys the right to change, alter, modify content to a different publisher, content, may not publish it in future, so many things. Because the original work of the author remains with the author, that is the author copyright. Who has this question? Am I Nagjoti, I think. Nagjoti, am I clear to you?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Very
Sir,
welcome.
one more question, sir.
Yeah. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Nowadays, publisher offer that customization of books.
Yeah.
What is that customization and can
Yeah. So
customize the
I'll
book?
come back.
Is it possible?
Query, ma'am. So customization can be in different formats. Let's assume, I'll give you a very good example here. There is a book which is published by Pearson Education, which is called as C and Data Structures by Professor Kamthane. So the original book is C and Data Structures, which is a all India edition, Pearson. But there is a customized version of C and Data Structures as per VTU syllabus. There is a customized edition of C and Data Structures as per Anna University syllabus. There is a customized version of C and Data Structures as per JNTU syllabus. So whatever customization also happens for a particular book is in agreement with author. It will always be customized. Post you get, author himself will help you in customizing. Since the author doesn't interact with you, only the publishers interact with you, you get to know that a specific publisher helps you in customization. So this book could be customized in any way. I'll give you one more example called Accounting for Finance and Non-Finance Professionals by Professor Batra. So this book has financial accounting in it, cost and management accounting in it, financial management in it. So there are all the three different perspectives that no institute may teach all three from the same book. So if let us assume that you as an institute may require only the financial management or financial accounting and cost accounting from the book, the publisher, in acceptance from the author, can customize the book with financial accounting and cost and management content for your particular institute. These days, things are very much technology driven, driven process. So makes you, the publishers, very easy to customize a content. There are also models getting worked out in the publishing arena. You can customize book as per, suppose there are about 4 different financial accounting with the same publisher. Couple of chapters from one book, couple of chapters from other book, couple of chapters from the third book, and couple of chapters from the fourth book. It is called as custom selecting of chapters. You can customize content as per your own requirement. So you can customize 2 different chapters from 4 different books and make a different book out of it. So what happens here is the publisher writes to the different authors and he takes the permission, or the company takes the permission to customize it. And the author is getting paid royalty for the 2 chapters that has been picked up from a particular book. As I said, these days things are very technologically driven. Even if somebody reproduces one line from one book, or one paragraph from one book, one caricature from a book, one figure from a book, or one flowchart from a book, the author gets paid royalty these days. So things have become so transparent for the authors these days that they get royalty for what they do. So customization is something which is very easy pretty much possible, and it is always done in consent with the author. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank
Welcome
you so
back.
much, sir.
Sure. So coming back to my reads, uh, Collins is something which is a phenomenal book written as good to great. I'll just share you an example why I got this book and why did I read Collins. I mean, I was working for a publishing organization, not the present organization that I work for, but I used to work for Pearson Education about a year and a half back, and I worked there for about 7-8 years. And this is something which came as a gift to me in one of the conferences that I attended. And it's a phenomenal read. Why don't you read this book? This is something for people who are already good. How do you get from good to great? And there will be a lot of knowledge that you will acquire in terms of how is it that you can go from good to great. And this is something which anybody would like to go. If you're already good, if somebody feels that yes, you're good and you want to go from good to great, why shouldn't you read? I mean, that was the motivating factor for me in terms of reading Collins. It's a phenomenal book. Please do read in case you get a chance to, and enjoy the read. Right. There are some of the suggestions that I thought it could be helping the students and the faculties, whoever has joined here. I just, thought I will just give you some professional reads which could help. If you see my screen, there are these 4 books: Karma Sutras, Accounting Simplified, Impactful Communication, and Strategy Hurdle. These are 4 books that has been published in collaboration with Indian Institute of Management, Calicut, Kozhikode, which is there in Kerala. This book, specifically the Debashish Chatterjee book, is a phenomenal book. He is a prolific author. He has written a lot of books apart from this. And each of his books has US management account read. Please try and see if you can just acquire Accounting Simplified. Yeah. Likewise, Impactful Communication, all to do with communication, about strategy. Professor Deepak has written management lessons from taking these other reads, which I think which will keep you motivating and interesting. Professor Vinay himself, or Dr. Vinay of Institute, can be one of the biggest testimonial giver for this book, Best for Restoring Financial Stability in India by Viral Acharya. This book has been read thoroughly, end to end, page to page, by Dr. Vinay, because he has spoken to me in length and breadth about this book. So if there is a possibility, please do read this book. Marketing students, please try and see if you can pick up a copy of Intelligent Marketing by V. Kumar. It has all the important terminologies about marketing, the new age technologies about marketing, which definitely will help you gain a lot of knowledge. HR folks, artificial intelligence in HR now, there is green HRM, there is a lot more that is happening in the finance section, with fintech being into consideration these days. There is something on social entrepreneurship. There is something on digital transformation. There are a lot of reads. These are which you can. Yeah. There are some of the academic reads that I thought which would help. There are obviously these are subjects that you will go through in the 4 semesters that you will be studying. There are some phenomenal books that are mentioned here about basic computational techniques for data analysis, specifically using Excel, who want to learn Excel in data analysis. Fantastic authors, written in a very, very simple style. Layman style, who doesn't know anything about Excel can start, learning about Excel to do anything to do within data analysis. Being big, you can always try and explore these titles. Any of you students, you feel that you want to develop a career in radio as a radio jockey, called the Radio Career Book. You can always try and explore these things. Just a moment. Yeah. Just give me one moment. Sorry. So there are a couple of experiences that I want to share. I told you I'm a Mumbai and I started, my reading habit from Mumbai, and what kept me busy, Sydney Sheldon kept me busy, in fact. So in terms of reading is that I used to travel in local trains in Mumbai, and I used to start my journey from Kalyan Junction to Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus, which is about 1.5 hours. And I used to read like a maniac there. In fact, my target, I said in my previous slides, that set a goal. What you want to read, it could be a short-term goal. My goal was to complete one book in 1.5 hours. I wasn't successful for the first 3, 4, 5 times, but I cultivated the side from Kalyan to Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus, and I used to read a different book of Sydney Sheldon when I got back from Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus back to Kalyan. So in Mumbai, there is a place called Flora Fountain, and it was too early days of my career. I couldn't afford to buying too many books at that time. So there was a person who used to rent books. I used to pick up these Sydney Sheldon books from him. I used to pay him 10 rupees. And I used to buy a book, and I used to read from Kalyan to CST. Go back. I started reading all of his books, and what is D company and how do they do things? Kya hota hai? Mafia, kya hota hai in the world? And Hussein Zaidi has had a deep dive into all these things and how things operated in that world. It's a different world altogether. And since I was a Mumbaite, I could relate to it because I have gone to those places wherever it has been mentioned in this. Then a little bit romance flourished, where I started reading an Indian author's book called Ravinder Singh and Chetan Bhagat's. Simple books, small books, 150 pages, 175, 200 page books, which keeps you very busy, easy to read, one day read, things of that sort. Yeah. So these are some of the experiences that I thought I will share it with all of you. Probably it may motivate you also in reading different things, exploring different options, exploring different ways of reading, and things of that sort. Yeah. This is it from my side. I think I am open to take questions. Please do let me know. Apart from, I think, Nagajyoti, no, there weren't any questions in the chat box either. Please feel free to ask me questions now. Is Vasanta sir online?
So, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
So, how many books are there in this Sydney Sheldon series?
There are close to about 10 to 12 books that he has written. I don't exactly remember the number of books that are there now. It was
Okay.
long back read, but I can always say that there are about 10 plus books that are there in the Sydney Sheldon series.
It's on crime journalism.
It's not on crime journalism. These are fictitious books. He writes a lot on fiction. These are fictitious stories. It keeps you guessing what is it that is going
Yeah,
in the
suspense
next
and
page. Suspense, thrillers. If you're interested in reading such things, you can also definitely explore the possibilities of reading Kiga Higashino's books. These are also very,
okay.
he's a very prolific Japanese author who writes a lot about thriller. You can try and see if you can read them. Well,
So, how is Wattpad reading app? Is it good to read or what?
pardon me, I didn't understand. Can you come back again?
Sir, there's this app called Wattpad, okay? So, where you can read novels, all these fictional characters.
Yeah, of course. It is definitely based on the interest that you develop. It could be either ways of reading. It could be reading in the form of in digital or in print mode. It could be reading on an app. I during my talk I just mentioned about reading through Google Play Books. So I also do a little bit of reading on Google Play. So you can always explore different options. Whichever keeps you busy, whichever keeps you interesting, you can explore that possibilities.
Ramesh sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, actually, I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Sir, actually, one discussion is
Please
going
go ahead.
on one nation, one subscription. Actually, in the current what happened, each publisher is having their own publication strategies and they are marketing their published books for even for e-books or e-journals, whatever it is. But I heard in the nation it's going on one nation, one subscription. What's your opinion on that? For one nation, one subscription.
Okay. One nation, one subscription in terms of, you mean to say it has as one nation, one subscription for books or one nation, one subscription for journals?
Maybe both. For database is concerned, in the database, books is there as well as journals also there. Journal articles also there. Like Sci-Hub.
Yeah. So yes. So for a institution, it's a very lucrative proposition. In case you can have one nation and one subscription kind of a model, wherein you can acquire content from one source.
Yes,
It
sir.
could be in the form of a journal, it could be in the form of a book, it could be in the form of a database. So the ministry, the education ministry, MHRD, formerly known as MHRD, now version called ESOC Sindhu. It was called as ESS. So where a lot of content, research content specifically in terms of journals and databases were available from different publishers, and people or the institution used to subscribe for ESS, where all the kind of negotiation to all kind of subscription formalities used to be done by the MHRD at that time, and the institution will be subscribing to that kind of a consortium. Unfortunately, I think the ESS is presently stalled, and central government has decided to, ask the institutions to subscribe to the kind of journals that they require, rather than so there are pluses and minuses also, sir, for these kind of schemes that are available or be made available, because there are possibilities that the kind of journals or the kind of databases or the kind of books that they may decide may not be useful to you. Some of them may be useful, some of them may not be useful at all. Yeah. So they may take the holistic view or on an average view of all the institutions across the country and try and see if they want and one. So may say that one subscription for engineering, one nation, one subscription. So it depends upon what is the kind of facility that, or what is the kind of content that you will enjoy, which will be useful to you in terms of books, in terms of databases, in terms of journals that are available. We are yet to get the details of it. Once I think we get more details about the scheme, I think we will be in a position to understand whether it is a lucrative proposition for institutions or not. A couple of chats. Okay.
Any questions from the participant side?
Yes, sir.
Any questions? I'm asking, sir. Is there any questions? Okay, well, once again, good afternoon to one and all. I hope you are all enjoyed the session. I hope you will get some knowledge about the copyright issues. Maybe all our MBA students or management students, even like Dr. Sheshadri sir is there. No, management professionals is there. Library professionals are there. I hope they get some knowledge about the copyright issues and how to motivate our students to read books, to cultivate reading habit themselves. This is, I hope all are enjoyed with this session. Now it's the time to thank to our Ramesh sir. It's given me an honor or privilege. It's give me immense pleasure to me to deliver a vote of thanks to you for this event. Our distinguished speaker, Mr. Ramesh Shankaran sir, and I bottom of my heart, I thankful to you, sir, for giving the wonderful lecture to our students. I would like to thank our director, sir, director Dr. Vinay sir, and our SIMS faculty members, staff, and as well as I am thankful to director Shesharipuram First Grade College, Post Graduation Department of Commerce and Management, Vijay Kumar sir, and I am thankful to one and all those who are present here. And once again, thank you one and all. And I request you kindly fill the feedback form to get the your participant certificate, which is posted in the chat box. Kindly fill the feedback form at the earliest. You are supposed to mention your prefix like Mr., Miss, Mistress, or Doctor in the before your name itself. You will get the same in the certificate. And one participant is supposed to enter only one feedback. You can't enter more than one feedback. And thank you so much. Uh, is there anyone to tell something about the conference? Sorry, in the event.
In fact, I want to thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. It was phenomenal interacting with all of you. There were some good, interesting questions that were asked. I think definitely you will find a lot more students coming to your library and asking for books, and they will keep you busy.
Yeah.
So,
if they so, we are happy,
a
sir.
lot needs to be done. Yeah, absolutely. In terms of, I think equipping a lot of that we are in, there could be a possibility that people may want to read digitally. So I would urge you to definitely explore the possibilities of having more digital content these days, which gives the students and faculties the possibilities to explore different content in different places wherever they are, whichever mode they want to read through. It could be, sitting at home and browsing through the library of SIMS, it's a phenomenal facility anybody would want to enjoy, right?
Yeah.
So as simple. So heartfelt thanks from me to all of you in SIMS, the entire management of SIMS, the directors, as well as yourself, as well as the students. All the very best to all of you. Do well in whatever you're doing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So much.
Okay, sir. Bye, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, friends, bye.
I see you.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
ಅರಿಶಿಣ ಮತ್ತು ಚಂದನದ